Welcome back to another big match build-up show, and we're back after another international break. But shortly before that, another disappointing day at St Mary's the weekend before. So let's hope Mark Hughes has used the last 10 days or so with the non-internationals to iron out some of the mistakes ahead of our shortest trip of the season as we head west down the road towards the Vitality Stadium to play AFC Bournemouth this Saturday. So on this week's show, we try to find some positivity, but it's becoming harder every single week. I speak to a regular face on the preview and discuss our chances against the Cherries.
They're quite a decent side, and the league doesn't lie. They're up there for a reason, you know, and where we are is for a reason. It's as simple as that. If we get a point, Freddie, I wouldn't say I'd be too disappointed. Win and I'd be over the moon, you know.
And Bournemouth fans, podcasters, forums, bloggers, vloggers and the like, they are a rare breed, but I have managed to track down our Bournemouth fan to speak to this week, and he plays down their chances ahead of this weekend as they're exceeding expectations so far this season.
I don't know, it's going to be a very interesting match, and I don't think it's going to be as clean cut though as people say. Yes, Bournemouth will be attacking, and in a way it's a huge match for Southampton, but I don't think it's necessarily going to go to what the form book would say.
And once again, our build-up show is available to download in the link above my head if you're watching on YouTube, or on most audio platforms in the links below. Do get in touch with us on the usual social pages for any comments, any predictions. Join us in the conversation, or any feedback you might have on this format. Anything will be greatly appreciated. But do stick with us later on in the show for your away guide, your travel advice, heading down west towards Bournemouth. But right now, let's kick off our preview for Bournemouth versus Southampton. So welcome along to our preview part of the show, and we've got a familiar face once again, not seen in these parts of our preview shows, but seen regularly on our fan interviews after the game. I'd like to welcome to the preview show, Mike. How are you, mate?
Fine, mate. Busy day at work, but I'm fine now.
As we do at every sort of podcast, our preview, we try and keep it brief and take a quick look back at the last result. I mean, it's been a week and a half since the international break as well, but the biggest frustration, and you said it in your interview as well, we're not even having a go at these top sides. We're going into games with defeatist attitudes. I
don't mind losing, Freddie. I don't mind. I mean, in football, there's got to be winners, there's got to be losers. We're losing more often than not, but Just have a go, make it. They are trying, but it doesn't come across like that. That there's not a footballer in the world that goes out there and doesn't try. But it's negative. We're going to defend. We're going to sit back. I mean, if you look at Chelsea at home and Liverpool away, there wasn't much there. Liverpool away, we didn't have a shot until 90 minutes, and then Chelsea at home. It's depressing for fans. I mean, if you go out there and have a go and lose 2-3-0, then all you can say is they give 110, they tried their hardest and they weren't good enough on the day, and that's it. We can't ask for more than that, But when you go out there and you see it and it's look, defend, and try and catch a team like Chelsea on the break, it doesn't happen. We should have gone one up. Fair enough, we did get one break, but we didn't, and it just doesn't bode well. I mean, the international break looked good. I watched most of the players from Saints over the internationals. I watched Bednar the other night, Shane Long the other night. I recorded and watched that one. There was nothing in England to worry about really. So going into Saturday, who knows? And it's going to be a toughie.
We'll get to that just a little later on as well. But as you say, we could have gone 1-0 up. Danny Ings, he could have changed the entire complexion of the game, skying the ball over from a yard or two. And Danny Ings, we're perhaps relying on his ability to put the ball in the back of the net at the moment.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, he's the only one that looks a danger. God love him, Charlie Austin. I don't think he can do 90 minutes. Does he start? Does he come off the bench? Where does he make his best impact from? Shane Long, I mean, I can't say nothing. I mean, I think it's 2 in 63 appearances for club and country. I don't have to say anything about that. The stats say it all.
It's like we're not keeping count.
No. I mean, I've given up. I mean, if Shane Long, I've said it before, if Shane Long scores a goal, I'll bare my bum in Burton's window. But I can't see my bum being bare that often, you know. But it's hard. I mean, we kept the lad Gallagher. You know, we kept him. We didn't send him out on loan. So what was the reason for that? If he's not going to get, I'm not saying start him, but, you know, if he's on the bench, what have we got to lose? I mean, we've got Danny who can score. Ali Anusi, I watched him play the other night, and to be fair, his cousin looks the better player for Norway. What have we got to lose by giving the lad a go? You know what I mean? What was the point in not sending him out on loan and then leaving him on a bench or not putting him in a first-team squad? I don't get it.
Yeah, we can question that till the cows come home, and maybe he's just making up the numbers. I hope he isn't, because I really want to see him give a chance as well this season. Sam Gallagher got something to prove, but you know, I want to pick up on a point that a lot of people are looking back at the Ronald Koeman era. We reminisce like it's the glory days, but we're far away from that team and that never say die attitude at the moment.
Koeman left for whatever reason, money, whatever. He went. The club went out and brought in this unknown French bloke called Puel. You know my feelings on that. The football from there started. The negativity started. It was possession football. Do your best not to lose and try and snatch a win on the break. Then the Clown Prince of Argentina came in, and to be honest, I don't get it. I was chuffed when Puel left. As you know that. I mean, I didn't think he was right for the club. The style of football went from pressing, all out, you know, pressing football, winning the ball, attacking, counter-attacking, good defence. Yeah, okay, you can say that some of the players left. When Puel came in, we had the Van Dijk rubbish and all that. It's difficult, but when you lose players like Pella, who underrated, everyone thought he was what can I say? He was more worried about his hair. Yeah. But, I mean, he held the ball up. He was the closest thing we had to Ricky Lambert for holding the ball up and bringing other players in. The supply to him from Tadic was sometimes sublime and then sometimes ridiculous. And then, obviously, when you get £8 million and he goes off to... You can't blame him for going over there for the money. I mean, I would at the end of his career, you know, and then... like I said, the Crown Prince Pellegrino, well, there's nothing you can say. The football was wrong, the tactics were wrong. And the same players this season, it's with a few additions and a few going out, I don't see much difference. To be honest.
And a lot of those players you've mentioned there, Pella, Mane, they all had the critics as well whilst we were playing. You know, Mane went through about 3 or 4 months without scoring, then suddenly he sprung into action, scored a lot of the goals towards the tail end. But a player this season, you know, maybe proving some of the critics wrong. Nathan Redmond, you know, he looks like a totally different player this season, taking on players without fear, playing with confidence, playing with positivity. Only he needs a goal or an assist, you know, to make him a key figure.
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, Philip, I've never booed a Saints player in my life, and I've seen some rubbish over the years. I mean, I've seen some real rubbish. I was there when Ali Dyer made his bloody play the game. You know, I have seen some rubbish, and the fans treated him like a dog last season, and it wasn't fair. I mean, he's a young nipper. He didn't ask to be called the new Thierry Henry. He didn't get that tag. I mean, sometimes he runs down a blind alley and he's frustrated. How many times did Mane run down blind alleys and frustrate us, you know? Right. And this season, he's sort of like, I don't know what he's done. He sort of like must have gone away in the summer and thought, I don't want another season of that. Put in an extra 10% here and there. And he is doing well. He looks like a serious threat for us. And it's good to see, because don't forget, I mean, how old is he now? 23, 24? These are still kids in my eyes. You know, they're still coming trying to learn the game still.
Yeah, and it's only a matter of time. Maybe if he keeps picking up his game, we may get a recall to the England team, which he got called up to last season alongside James Ward-Prowse. He's sort of gone off the radar as well. But back to the weekend then. It's another game on a Saturday afternoon with our so-called rivals.
Yeah.
I mean, we're heading to Bournemouth with low expectations though, aren't we, Mike?
To be honest, they're flying. I mean, I've watched them in the last couple of weekends, and I think they was on Sky, and I thought, well, I'll sit down and have a look. And they look quite scary on the break. I mean, that Fraser geezer's quite fast. Is it Lerma they got, the bloke from the World Cup? He looks pretty solid in there. I mean, Josh King, there's not a lot you can say about him. He's a goal scorer. He's a finisher. I'd love him in ours because he finishes. I mean, they've got that big Dutch lad, Aki, at the back. I'd have loved him when we got rid of Van Dijk, to be truthful. All round, they're quite a decent side, and the league doesn't lie. They're up there for a reason, you know. And where we are is for a reason. It's as simple as that. If we get a point, Freddie, I wouldn't say I'd be too disappointed. Win, and I'll be over the moon, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd echo that as well. You know, if we take a point away from Bournemouth, considering their form right now as well, you know, they're an unfashionable side. You know, on paper they don't look like a good team, but Eddie Howe's getting them playing. But it seems like Bournemouth. I hate to say it, but they seem like a side that we wish to be, playing with freedom and never say die.
I mean, what were they? They've come back how many times? 4 or 5 times they've come back from goals down to win or get a draw, and in that situation, we wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? If we're 2-1 down with 10 to go, the chances are we're going to lose. The chances of Bournemouth, they might snatch a win or even get a draw. You know, I don't know what it is. I mean, we seem to sort of like die on 80 minutes. It's like up, one down, or whatever. It's 80 minutes is, well, we played our game now. We're not going to do nothing. Let's pack it in and blow up early.
Yeah, it seems like we run out of ideas as well. But like you say, if we take a point, we'll be happy. If we take 3 points, we're over the moon. But what's your prediction? What's you hoping for? Hopefully that the away fans, we always do down the Vitality, we make a lot of noise.
I mean, the boys will be down there in yellow. Good luck to you. I mean, I wish I was going, but the missus don't allow that. To be honest, I'd love to go down there and win 2-1. I think we'll definitely score. I think we'll score. I'll take a 2-2. I'll go for a 2-2 draw.
All right, Desmond it is then. Mike, tell everybody where we can find you. You're also part of the Saints Voice panel, so if anybody wants to get in touch, tell them where we can find you.
They can tweet me. They can tweet me on Twitter. My followers is Saints Mike 71 at Saints _Mike 7167. Any questions, give us a shout. I can put them forward to the panel, and they will take those to the club. Or, you know, if there's silly questions, and we do get some silly questions, obviously I'm going to filter out those. But or they can email the club direct on the website. I think there's an email, not individually to us. They send it to the club, and then they forward it out to us for comments. All right, excellent stuff. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch up soon. Yeah, cheers, Freddie. Take care, bud.
So for the eagle-eyed viewers or the keen listeners, you might have noticed that Mike didn't actually mention a single swear in that preview this week. But I'm sure next time I see him, that counter will go into overdrive. So hold your senses. But do make sure you go ahead and find Mike over on Twitter if you want to get in touch for the next Voices panel and send in your thoughts to the board. So before I do head into the second half, now it's time to tell you about some of your away pubs and your travel advice heading west towards Bournemouth this weekend. Now, firstly, if you're heading in on the trains, it's important to know your closest station will be Folkestone. It is a shorter walk to the Vitality Stadium than Bournemouth Station itself. Folkestone is about a 15-20 minute walk, whereas Bournemouth, it will set you back about half an hour, which is about 1.5 miles away. Now, there are a few pubs nearby Bournemouth if you want to go a little bit out of the way, but commonly, if you want to head up to Folkestone, then head towards Boscombe High Street along Christchurch Road, where the Mellow Bar and Baxter's are accepting away fans before the match. On your way back, there will also be an extra train laid on, according to the Saints FC Cop on Twitter. So if you're looking for a quick getaway, then get down to Folkestone for about 5:30, where there will be an extra train coming from Bournemouth and Folkestone. Alternatively, if you are heading in on the roads, there will likely be delays along the A338. It is reduced to one lane, so do follow Saints FC Cop over on Twitter for more information on the day and up-to-date travel alerts. So that's out of the way. Now is time to head into our second half, where I speak to a Bournemouth fan and we find out everything we need to know ahead of match day.
So welcome along to our opposition view part of the show, and once again we've got ourselves a resident sort of Bournemouth fan reappearing on the channel once again. Sam Davis, formerly of the Back of the Net AFC Bournemouth podcast, and we were just saying off air, Bournemouth fan channels and podcasters and vloggers, all sorts, very much a rare breed now.
Yeah, we're severely underrepresented in the social media arena on YouTube or podcasts, and it's something with time I'd love to be changing, but it's just having the time to put it all together.
Bournemouth on the pitch looking very committed at the moment. 8 played, 16 points, 6 in the Premier League, and summarise it so far. I mean, scoring goals for fun recently, absolutely humiliating Watford at Vicarage Road, and your biggest ever away win in the Premier League.
Yeah, it was a great result for us last week, and we just looked so composed in front of goal, really clinical. And then, there have been matches previously, not this season, probably last season, where we've dominated, but we just haven't had the clinicality, if that's a word, up front. And, against Watford, it showed that we can do it. We put 4 past Leicester as well, had a fairly convincing win home against Crystal Palace. So, yeah, things have been looking really good this season, and the team's been starting to gel. We seem to have that spine from defence in midfield and up front that seems to be, giving our wingers a bit of freedom, and that shows by the amount of goals that are being shared around all over the pitch.
And the 2 players, you didn't touch upon him just a moment there, but brings me almost perfectly to the point that I've got next. Callum Wilson and Josh King, their partnership, being very fruitful at the moment and very fruitful for the Fantasy Premier League managers. It's only a matter of time that Callum Wilson's going to be called up for England. Now, we're recording this in the time that England are currently beating Spain 3-0 at half-time.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to be seeing Callum Wilson wear an England shirt, and I think he deserves it. There are other players for Bournemouth as well that could be, potentially in for a call-up, including Steve Cook. But, yeah, Wilson's been doing really well for Bournemouth. Him and Josh King have combined really well up front. Wilson's probably not scored as many as he would personally hope, but he's been getting loads of assists. So it's an unbreakable sort of partnership up front. Whereas last season, it was Lys Mousset who was getting a few games, and then Jermaine Defoe here or there. But, those 2 are just unbreakable at the moment. And I don't think Eddie's going to be making any changes up front, put it that way.
Yeah, and Wilson certainly has a lot of potential, and King as well. Still a young age for both of them, really, and both of them kind of start to hit the ground running. And Wilson seems like has got over his injury woes, and Defoe, nowhere to be seen, nowhere on the radar at the moment.
No, he's not. But I think that's mainly down to the form of Josh King and Callum Wilson. I just think, Defoe hasn't scored as many goals as he would like for Bournemouth. But how can you force yourself in the team when you've got Josh King, fast, pacey, strong, and then you've got Callum Wilson with his goals and his incredible hold-up play? There's no way in for him at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like unbreakable too. But another player I've actually picked out, a bit of an obscure one at the start of the season, signed from Sheffield United, a bit of obscurity, plucked from the Championship, really, aren't they, Sheffield United? Relatively unknown, relatively unfashionable as well. Who was David Brooks, they asked. But Eddie Howe seems to love him. He seems to add a bit of dynamic to your attacking line as well, alongside sort of Ryan Fraser on the other side, and Brooks himself has got 2 in the last 2.
Yeah, if I can, give Eddie Howe a compliment, it would be that his man management is incredible, and he really knows how to develop a player. And Ryan Fraser is testament to that. So David Brooks, to get him at the stage he's at, yet he seems to have hit the ground running. It's so exciting. Now, personally, I didn't think he was going to be starting much this season. I saw him in pre-season, looked a little bit lightweight. However, Eddie rewarded him with a starting place in our first match of the season against Cardiff. He did ever so well, and he's only got better. Even Match of the Day are doing sort of mini features on him. I think it was Ian Wright was picking out his movement in our last match against Watford. So yeah, he's a really exciting prospect. Fast, direct, jinky runs, and can cross a ball, as we saw he did for Wales in their last international game against Spain, where he set up Sam Vokes to score their consolation goal. But it was a lovely outside of the right foot cross, and he's very versatile. So to have him on one side and Fraser on the other is so exciting for us.
Yeah, all the firepower going forward for Bournemouth, really clicking into gear. And we've mentioned 4 names there, but who would be the one to watch really and cause Saints the most problems on Saturday?
Now, obviously, you've got your attacking players, but I'm not going to sort of say any of them because I think that's fairly obvious. I think the midfield general, the player that we've been missing for so long, but now we've got, Jefferson Lerma, our record signing, he's been pulling the strings so well for us in the middle, and he just gives our wingers the flexibility and the sort of peace of mind that they can attack without worrying about their defensive duty somewhat. He's a great player, probably won't get on the score sheet, but he breaks up the attacks when Southampton are going to be attacking us, which I'm sure they will. He'll be there to intercept, and he's very good at his distribution, the power in the middle. He's just a really sort of a solid player for us, and he's proven to be a good signing.
£25 million, and we look at that and think, why have we spent £25 million on a player like that? And also Nathan Ake at $20 million themselves. But this is the second fixture in a row that this game is not on TV coverage. Does it seem like the broadcaster finally sort of clinged on to realise that this is certainly not a derby? Let's not mention that at all, really. But of course, last time we did play, it was we were towards the end of the last season. We're fighting for our lives, and perhaps we're in a very similar position again. We haven't really learned from many of our mistakes this season, so not much has changed. But we're heading to the Vitality this week, and I think probably with low expectations.
Yeah, it seems that way. In terms of Sky, in a way I'm surprised, but the quality of the last few games has not been particularly great between us and the... obviously there's a lot of sort of baiting that goes on social media, but when it comes to match day, there's the usual chance, but other than that, not much at all. So maybe they've sort of picked onto that. I was quite surprised last season's match wasn't televised, but I know they make their decisions a couple of months beforehand. And would you have envisaged Saints being the position they were in? Not me personally, so maybe they thought they'd be clear of it. But as it turned out, it was a huge win for you. This time round, it's going to be a very interesting match. I didn't quite expect you to be in the position that you're in. One thing I've got to say is I'm surprised Mark Hughes is still there. Now, I thought the whole point Mark Hughes was appointed was to, get you out of the mire that you were in last season. Now, apart from once when Sparky managed Man City, I can't think of a single team where he's shown this fast, fluid, dynamic football that Southampton have always been sort of associated with over the years, and certainly in sort of recent history. So I was quite surprised that he carried on. Now, I thought it was going to be like a Sam Allardyce situation for Everton. He's done his job, and then they'll get that kind of manager that fits the Southampton brand. I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting match, and I don't think it's going to be as clean cut though as people say. Yes, Bournemouth will be attacking, and in a way, it's a huge match for Southampton. But I don't think it's necessarily going to go to what the form book would say.
It's very interesting to see that as an outsider looking in as well. Mark Hughes, one of the old boys clubs, gets all those jobs. But what have you made of Saints' season so far? Can you finish off with your expectations for Saturday, or maybe your prediction as well, mate?
Yeah, I've been really surprised. Well, I suppose if you take the form at the end of last season, yes, you had that sort of mini run, but you weren't. You shouldn't have been in that position anyway. Mark Hughes was appointed to get you out of it. He did. I thought that you were going to push on, but the performances seem to have been pretty poor, especially when you go 1-0 down. Now compare that with Bournemouth. I'm not trying to say that we're brilliant and you're not, or whatever. I'm all for fairness over here. But when you go 1-0 down, it's like your heads drop real badly, and there's no way back into the match.
Well, the statistics don't lie. I think you're top of the table in terms of games won from losing positions, and we're probably top of the table for losing games from winning positions.
Yeah, and that's why if that sort of mentality on Saints' side, comes into effect on Saturday, then it's imperative that Bournemouth score first. And we like to start fast and score as many goals as we can, pretty much. That's what I like about Eddie Howe. I like the fact that I didn't like the fact that we got smashed 4-0 at Burnley, but I would rather we gave it a go. I'd rather do that than say lose 1-0 and put in a half-hearted performance. We'll either win good or win big or lose terribly. A fast start's really important. If we can go in sort of 2-0 up at half time or whatever, who knows, Southampton's head may drop and it could be, a battering. However, I don't think it's going to quite play out like that, and it's going to be a close match. I do see Bournemouth winning it though, but I would sense and hope it's something like a 2-1.
All right, doesn't sound good to me, and hopefully Saints keep their heads. But Sam, big thanks once again for joining us, mate.
Yeah, no problem at all, buddy.
So massive thanks then to Mike for filling in this week, and Sam for giving us the opposition view for the Bournemouth perspective. Do go ahead and leave us your predictions, anything you have to say in the comments below. How are we going to fare against Bournemouth? Are we going into the game as underdogs? Let me know your answer to that in the comments below, or find us on the usual social pages to join the conversation. Also, do look out for us outside the ground for the post-match interviews, or I might see you down the pub. We'll see what happens. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you at Bournemouth. Come on, you Saints.